Hi guys, sorry I low-key forgot to film the intro for this, but first step I do is color correcting. So I use this small brush into this green concealer and then I just put it all over my red spots because I've been breaking out quite a bit recently. And then I use a bigger round brush into this peach and yellowy shades. And then I just dab it under my eye bags like this. And then using the same brush, I blend out all of the green concealer too. And then I go in with this cushion foundation and just pat it all over my face. I always spend some extra time on this step just to make sure everything's evenly covered. And then I go in with this concealer and then I put it under my eyes, around my nose, and all of the blemishes on my face. And then I also do between my eyebrows and on my chin as well. And then whilst I wait for my concealer to dry, I start filling in my eyebrows. I don't necessarily do anything special to my eyebrows, I just fill in all of the gaps and try making them look as even as possible. And then using the same puff from the foundation, I blend out all of my concealer. I found that when you let your concealer dry down a bit, it makes the coverage a lot better. And then with this cream blush, I use a flat round brush and then dip it in like this. And then I place it underneath my eyes and on the tip of my nose too, and then I wipe off all the excess on the palm of my hand, and then I blend everything out towards the edges of my eyes because I just think this makes it look cuter. And then using this liquid contour, I take a small round brush and put it around the tip of my nose and also at the top of my nose bridge. And then I use the actual applicator to contour my jawline and my cheeks. I found that putting contour on top of your cheekbones instead of underneath makes your face look a lot smaller. And then I use this small fluffy brush to blend out my nose contour. You want to make sure you don't blend out too far, otherwise your nose will just end up looking muddy instead of actually defined. And then I use a makeup puff and spray it with some setting spray and then blend out my cheek contour. And then going in with this liquid highlighter, I know there's a lot of products, I put it on my nose like this, like an exclamation mark, and under my eyes and on my chin too. And then doing the same as my cheek contour, I get this mini makeup puff and blend it out like this. And then I use this setting spray. You can't tell on camera, but it makes your base look really blurred. And then I just fan it down to make sure it's dried. And then with this very light pressed powder, I dab it underneath my eyes, like this. And around my nose too. And then on my chin. And on my forehead too. And then I go in with this darker pressed powder and then use a fluffy brush to cover the rest of my face. And then going in with powder contour this time, I go in with a flat brush and then I put it around the tip of my nose. And then you just want to blend it out towards your nose bridge. And then I do the same on the top of my nose bridge, but you kind of want to blend it out like a C shape, like this. And then I use a bigger fluffy brush to go over my cheeks again. This just makes your contour look a lot more defined and also more long lasting. Like, my base literally does not move the whole entire day when I do this. And then using the same palette, I use this matte highlighter under my eyes, around my nose, and in my inner corners. This just makes your makeup look a lot more dimensional rather than flat, if you know what I mean. And then I also put it on top of my nose too. And on my chin again. And then for eyeshadow, I use this palette from DEARREMMY, and as you can see, I use this palette a lot. Anyways, I use a fluffy brush to blend these two shades together, and then I just put it all over my eyelid. You want to put it literally everywhere. And then I also put it on my aegyo-sal too, and you want to blend it towards a little bit below your aegyo-sal so that it just makes your eyes look a lot bigger. And then with a slightly smaller brush, I mix these two medium brown shades. And then I put that on the outer edges of my eyes so that it adds more depth to the look. And then with a small angled brush into this medium shade again, I use it on my aegyo-sal. When drawing my aegyo-sal, I always start in the middle and then I drag it out to the edges. Doing it this way makes it look a lot more seamless and natural looking. And then I use a small fluffy brush to just blend it out again, just to make it look a lot more natural looking rather than harsh. And then with the same angled brush, I extend the crease of my eyelid. And then I draw in my eyeliner. I basically just follow the curve of the bottom of my eye and then extend that towards the very edge of my eyebrow. And then I use this palette from Flower Nose. Isn't it so pretty? But anyways, I take this brown shade and put it underneath my eyeliner. This again just makes your eyes look a lot bigger. And then I also use the same shade to smoke out my eyeliner, just so it looks a lot less harsh. And then using the darker shade from the Daisy palette, I use this very small brush to put it on my waterline. This again just makes your eyes pop out a lot more. And then I also put in a bit in my inner corners as well. Then I just use a random brown eyeliner to draw in my beauty marks that I always do. I feel like this just makes your face look a lot less empty, I guess. And then I use this fan brush into this highlighter from the Judy Doll palette and put it on my nose like an exclamation point again, and also in the inner corner of my eyes. And then I use the highlighter side of this aegyo-sal pen thing, and then I go in with the contour side to contour my fill trim. This will make your mid-face look shorter and on the top of my lip as well. And then I just blend that with my finger. And then going in with this pencil eyeliner, I fill in my lash line. and then also my inner corner. And then I go in with the small brush into this glitter and put it on top of my aegyo-sal. And then all of the excess glitter, I just put it on top of my eyelids like this. And then I use this highlighter stick from Hints, and then I just warm it up on my palm like this, and then dab it in with my fingers. If you're using this product, make sure you go very light-handed with this, otherwise it will lift your face. And then I use this Urban Decay setting spray and just spray it all over my face. And then I curl my lashes. And then I flip the lash curler and then also curl my lower lashes too. If you're struggling to do this, I basically just align the top part of the lash curler to my aegyo-sal. And then I just go in with this waterproof mascara. And I also put it on my lower lashes too. It's a lot easier to apply when you hold the applicator like this. And then for lashes, I use these Manga lash clusters from AliExpress, so I'll just link them in the description. But I just glue the first 4 clusters underneath my eyes. You want to make sure you get the first one in the very corner of your eye. And then I glue the last one on top of my lash line. As you can see, lashes make the biggest difference. Then I also glue on these lower lashes as well. These ones can be like very fidgety, so it took me quite a lot of practice to do them, but I think it makes a lot of difference. And then after putting my lashes on, I use a volumizing mascara. You don't necessarily have to do this step, it just makes your eyes pop just a bit more. And then I use this liquid lipstick. I only use the smallest amount because it's very pigmented. And then I apply this gloss over it. And then that is the final look done.